racism causes people to do the craziest, most unimaginable things. And, oftentimes I'm asked, what triggered all this? What happened back in October? And that is honestly the only reasonable, based upon facts, conclusion that you can come up with. It doesn't, otherwise it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. And, having done a lot of research now, I had put Jennifer Blakeney on that while I was going through it at my house. And I've done an extensive amount myself now. It's fairly common that this is the outcome of people that suffer 3rd and 4th degree burns. They develop a form of extreme bipolar, and some even develop a personality disorder after being electrocuted. And even when I went for the most recent protection order, I told the judge, I said, look, this man, this is not my husband. This is not the man I married. This is not the man I spent 20 years with. This is not the man I even filed divorce papers on. This man is a monster. And there's not much more you could classify it as. And, he's done everything in his power to destroy me, and for the most part, everybody he's come in contact has bought it, and they're not looking at the bigger picture. The people that actually came to me to get the story, have found out otherwise. But the people that just wrote off his opinion, made some grave mistakes. So, and the worst part about this is we were actually in the development, like I said, of a mental health program with Curtis Helms that my boyfriend was going to help us with. Oh, sadly enough, he was going to. And he called this whole thing. That was the weirdest part. He called it. As soon as Tom got injured, he was like, oof. He was like, this is going to get a whole hell of a lot worse before it gets any bit better. And he was right. He called the whole thing. Until I finally left and was free. For a while, I had guilt about the thought of leaving, and, because I swore if I left that would be it, that he would no longer be with us. And at least me in the house, I could keep him stable. And there was, times that he did take a gun and walk into the woods. And stay, Jay.
What?
Dad just went for a walk. Just stay, it's fine. Go back downstairs.
Where is he?
He went for a walk.
I'm worried.
It's fine, Jay.
Where is he?
I don't know. He just went for a walk, Jay. Jay, do not go outside. It's fine. People get angry and they go for a walk. It's fine, Jay. It's okay, breathe. It's okay.
But what if he doesn't come back inside?
He's coming back.
And a coyote got him.
No, they're fine. It's fine, Jay. It's okay, baby. Come here. It's okay. Shh, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm gonna go sit in the living room.
Okay. Unfucking believable. But at one point, I had to choose between self-sacrifice and my child to him. And ultimately, my child won. So, you know, when we first left, the first night we spent in a hotel, so I had to figure out what we were going to do. And then, you know, my boyfriend came through and we wound up getting our first VRBO home. And in a gated community, because it was obviously a factor for me at that point is I wanted to be somewhere secure, behind gates where he couldn't access us. And the first night we spent in that home, behind those gates and with those guards, the next morning, Jay says to me, you know, this is the first time I felt safe since the summertime. And I just cried. Like, Jay's such a tough kid that he won't, like, often express his feelings or emotions. And, you know, I figured everything was fine. I know he started sleeping with me again. So I knew something was up, but I didn't know to what extent. You know what I mean? And when he said that, I just cried. Like, just cried. You know, and he says to me, he says, you know what, Mom? He said, I know you tried. He said, it's okay. I know you tried. He's such a tough little kid. And like I said, for the first few weeks we were gone, Jay didn't want to overnight with Tom. Because that's when it would get worse, is at nighttime. And he was afraid to overnight with his father. So, you know, I offered for Tom to sign a custody agreement. He refused. I offered, you know, to meet with him for dinner. He refused. At one point, he blocked us both. And Jay was telling this himself. Like, it wasn't me. Jay was just like, no. For a while. You know, you have to understand, you go through some crazy, crazy things like that. And even though, you know, he might not have been the direct target of the madness, he was affiliated and associated with it. And that was Tom's thing for a while, is he was like, I didn't do any of this to Jay. And I'm like, but Jay's seeing you deteriorate. Like, Jay is seeing this. He's seeing what you're doing to me, and it's scaring him too. You know what I mean? And Jay was affected somewhat, because, like, for instance, the one day I went and picked up a $500 order from Sam's. And they were actually having a deal on the toilet paper and paper towels we use. So I actually wound up picking up 2 packs of each, 2 large packs of each, and a whole bunch of other food and snacks and whatever else, right? Bring it in the house, unload it all, blah, 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 blah. The next day, it disappeared. It's gone. Just disappeared. I'm like, great, so now we don't have toilet paper. I think we had like 1 roll left, and I went to go grab a roll, and everything was gone. So, until I got back to the store, I told Jay just to use paper towels. And, everything went missing. You have no idea. And, It's not like I'm made of money. It's not like I can turn around and go right back out, you know? And buy the same $500 stuff again. I just picked up a small, you know, pack of toilet paper and begged Tom to give me my shit back, but of course he wouldn't. And it was just stuff like that. So Jay, while he might not have been the target, he was certainly affected by Tom's actions. And I still haven't gotten that stuff back. You know, they're all using it, I'm sure, in that house still. Takes a long time to go through 2 large packs of paper towels and toilet paper, but I don't know. So it was just a lot, you know? And something needs done about this. You know, I had started a nonprofit that helped families after, you know, the lineman or electrical worker was injured, and to wind up in a position where I needed aid and then to be denied based upon rumors. I guess rumors were discussed during that meeting, and yeah, so it was a learning experience, but I'd like to see somebody, you know, develop a mental health program for this, and I would be interested in aiding in that with first-hand experience. And a boyfriend who has a PhD in psychology. We would be interested in helping whoever decides they're doing that, for sure. And because this is crazy. And you know, after I posted my story, you should see the amount of people that messaged me like, oh my god, my husband went through the same thing. Took about 5 years, and he's still not 100%, but he's a lot better than he was. And like, I'm like, damn, man. And these are people I had direct contact with their accident, you know, during that time. And I'm like, damn, man, how many others, you know? How many others are there? And, you know, making the decision between saving their kids and themselves, or, you know, trying to work through it, their vows, you know? Tom and I were separated, but we got along just fine. You know, one of my friends recently said, she was like, yeah, I was there and I didn't notice anything. And I'm like, of course you didn't. I said, if anything, that helps my situation, because it proves that everything was pretty cool, you know? We didn't hug and we didn't kiss and we weren't romantic with each other, but we were still very friendly. We spent 20 years together. And we were still very friendly. It's not like we were at each other's throats or fighting or anything like that. It wasn't like that. It definitely wasn't like that around my son. Even when we would have, you know, discussions about the divorce and asset distribution and things like that, like, I would always try to make it so it was a time when, you know, Jay wasn't around, you know? There's just things kids don't need involved with, so, but it is what it is now. And, onward and upward. That's all you can do from this point. Racism runs a lot of people. And I've seen that firsthand. People will do the most unexplainable things. Unexplainable, you know? Tom thinks just because he didn't give me support, it only affected me. like, no, dude. Your child was affected by that too, you know? It was funny recently. He was like, who paid your cell phone bill? I'm like, who do you think? Like, I don't have any money. Like, who do you think pays my bill? Well, I don't want that N-word paying my son's bill, my son's phone bill. And I'm like, really? That's what you're worried about? Like, you weren't worried when he was providing the roof over our head or food on our table while you were busy being spiteful and vindictive. But now you're worried who pays his for his cell phone. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, get out of here. Oh. Like, that's what he's worried about. So, my dude stepped up, for sure. And he would do more if I would let him, but I really just want to get back on my feet now that my brain is starting to function back to normal now. I have some memory of that time, but it's a lot of my memory being refreshed based upon the journal I have of what was happening every day. And the stuff that was going missing, or when I would notice it went missing, and I was jotting all this stuff down in a journal. But I thought it was just my seizures. You know, because my seizures cause short-term memory loss. And I thought because of all the stress I was under, that my seizures had ramped up, and that's essentially why I couldn't remember anything. And I was recently told well, that was a factor for sure, that they believe it was just the trauma, that your brain will often block out things to save you. Some of it's starting to come back now, but you have to figure I'm literally 6 months later from leaving that house. We've been gone 6 months, and I've had time to allow my brain to come back, you know, and process what was happening, or what happened. And that's about it, you know. Go through these notes and refresh my memories and events, you know. There were a couple other police calls that I honestly had forgotten about, until I referenced my notes, and I was like, oh shit. That's why I requested them all, because I'm like, man, I don't know. It was just a very tough time. But, you know, God will often put me through things in order for me to truly understand for the next part of my life, you know. And maybe, you know, domestic violence and dealing with this is a part of my next calling, you know, to help whatever organization or company develop a program. I was offered a $50,000 grant to get something like this off the ground. Not a year, just under a year ago. I would say 10 months or so ago. It was about this time. It was before Tom's accident, because we actually had a call set up to meet with some victims who had gone through similar mental health issues. Right around the same time as Tom got hurt. So I would say it was probably May. So yeah, I guess a year ago. And now, having gone through it directly and affiliated with directly, I'm obviously more interested in definitely getting this off the ground, especially not just me, but all the women that have contacted me. And I'm just like, how did we skip all this? And So, if there's anybody out there that wants to do this, or wants to develop this, let me know. And we can get it off the ground for sure. And start helping these women. They need the help. They need the help. For sure.